a UNESCO Institute of Statistics document that shows us what an elementary knowledge in data analytics should be. The assignment I gave to us in the last class, about 70% of us were able to do it well, while others had some other things not done well. These are my observations. Number one, some made their table to be multicolored. Number two, some did not put a title in their table. Number three, some did not put the proper rows and columns. So I'm bringing it up again to say that the component of a table, when you are presenting a table, we have seen the importance of a table in data analytics, and we use that for specific type of data, something that you have in percentage, and then you have a data that will make your audience or the recipient of the data to be able to understand at a glance what that data means, and then interpret and be able to take informed decisions. So your table must have a proper title, it must have a proper heading, it must have rows and columns, it must have the unit of measurement. If you are putting in months, or you are putting in percentages, for example, you must put the unit of measurement in percentage there. Then you have a footnote and possibly your source of data. So it's very, very important. Now, the data that we used in the last class, we exported the data from a population census, and I told us to analyze it. Now, I will show us some of the ways to analyze that data again before we move into graph. So I'll stop sharing this screen and then go to the platform where we are going to use that we've been using, Google Sheets. So before we do that, I want to ensure that every one of us have our system connected. Are you connected with your systems? Are you connected with your system? Some people reached out to me and wanted to use their phone, and I said that this is an hands-on class. Therefore, you will not be able to benefit from it if you are using your cell phone or your mobile phone. You need to be with your system. So if you are connected to the internet, you can use Google Sheets. If you are not connected to the internet right now, I mean for this class on your PC, if you're on your PC and you are connected to the internet, then go to Google Sheets right now so that you'll be able to follow on with what I want to say. So I'm going to show us again the same data we used last time. I mean, I gave you some assignment. I'll show you what you need to do with that data and how to analyze that data in the correct way. So I'll stop sharing this screen now. I'll stop sharing this screen now and then take us to the sheet where we have that data. Okay, so while I'm trying to do that, can I get responses from people? What challenges do you have while you are trying to analyze your data? Yes, can somebody volunteer to tell us that? While you're trying to analyze your data, what challenge did you experience? Princess Nikki, do you have something for us?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Okay, you already mentioned it from the beginning. I really appreciate that. I had challenges because I didn't really understand from the terms. Personally, it's the first time of having a contact with data analysis and all those. So most times we were using, I didn't really understand it in the last class we had. So I didn't really get, you started mentioning multiple dimension columns and all those. I didn't understand what it meant. So I didn't actually know what to do, So, but you mentioned it earlier that you understand that some of us didn't really get it times. And I like the way you started today. I feel like we flow. So there are people, someone like me, this is my first time of encountering stuff like this. So I will prefer simple terms with explanation that can help me know what to do. Thank you. I don't even understand what I mean.
Yes, perfectly.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. As I mentioned earlier in the introduction, the overall goal we have is to ensure that you are skilled, you are equipped with what we are doing. So that's why I'm trying to take a little more time to bring everybody on board. Yes, Akinshola Oluwatosin, what do you have for us?
Okay, good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much. Just like Princess said, I really do appreciate how you're starting today because I don't know anything about data analysis. In fact, I was going to ask that must somebody be very sound in maths before you can do data analysis? Because all the summation, everything I saw you are doing, that Monday's class, I was almost discouraged. I'm like, God, hope I'm not in the wrong class.
Enter the wrong boss.
honestly, I just said, okay, today I will come and attend the class. If the class is not, boya, I will have to ask to leave this class because it's really, I'm just starting. I know nothing, completely. Nothing, not even, in fact, I must be honest, I was just understanding the difference between rows and column. It's that bad. I think that's the only thing I was able to take from the class even last week. I mean, on Monday rather.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. So it's not a challenge. The only challenge is if we fail to learn. So it's not a challenge that we are not able to know something, but it becomes a challenge when we don't know and we don't want to know. So thank God we all want to know now. So I believe you can see my screen now. I believe you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen, everyone?
You can see it.
Okay, so this is someone's submission.
Yes, sir.
So this is someone's submission. Now, and I told you this is Google Sheet. So I'll just use this as an example. Now, the person has been able to show us the title here of this table, but there is no heading. This is just voting age population and number of votes counted in 20 states general election. But this to me, let me tell us some of the flaws that are here. Number one, the title looks very wordy. If you are saying voting population in United States, yes, that is fine. You may not need to say 20 states because at a glance, you are able to see that this is 20 states. And then you see the percentage that are here of the state. Now, I'm bringing this data up because I'm going to use it for the graph we want to do today. And that's why particularly I brought it up here. And then, so what they are just saying here, we have the voting age, but I want to bring out another flaw in this table because the table is actually not a complete table. This is just in sheet. You made it a table. To make it a table, you need to put the grid lines or you put the table there. So as you are doing that, what you need to do is to highlight it. I mentioned it in the last class. You are going to highlight it this way as I'm highlighting it. So you highlight it and then you ensure that you put in the grid lines there, borders, and then you can put all borders. This way, it becomes all border, except you are told to change the type of borders you put there. This is where you're going to do. So, and then you have the serial number, you have the important figure. So this is what I feel is closest to the best one, except the fact that there's no table. What I mean by that, I mean there's no title. There's no title for this. Then the heading here is also wrong. So if the person is to put title, you're going to create another. You're going to create another row up here. Let me try to help you create another row up here. So when you create a row up here, like I have done, what I did is to move this table down, and then you now put the heading of what you are doing. Now the heading here shares voting age population, so you can change it, and then you come down and add the footnotes so that anybody that sees it, that footnote may now say data obtained from Google or data obtained from Google science data research or something. So to show the footnotes of what you are doing. So table is about the very, very simple way of presenting data, and almost everybody should be able to do that. So this is a multi-dimensional table because you are dealing with different values and different variables rather, dealing with different variables. So we are going to, somebody is still raising his or her hand. I don't understand why. Any problem, Odetunde Oluwatorotin? Any problem? Okay, so let's move on. No response from the person. So today, we want to look at graphs and the importance of graphs. I hope you can see my new. Hello? Hello? I didn't hear that person out. Now, graphs and charts represent and summarize statistical information in a visual manner to show patterns and trends in a data. We normally use graphs and charts for highlighting and presenting important information. It is an ideal method for presenting statistical information to non-technical audience. What is the purpose of charts and graphs? Number one, charts and graphs are used to visually represent information that cannot be easily read or interpreted from a table. Like some of the things we saw in the table we have presented in the assignment. That table had 20 states in the US and the percentages of their voting in the election of that year. Now, so it shows the trend, statistical trend of what happened. Somebody asked a question at that time that he or she wants to opt out of the course because you are thinking maybe mathematics. Now, let me say the truth of the matter that you need your sound arithmetic knowledge. You need your sound statistical knowledge to actually be a good data scientist. So if you are not good with numbers, you need to fall in love with numbers. You need to fall in love with your initial mathematical knowledge. That's what will help you to do well in data analysis, because There's no way you talk about data analysis that you don't need your mental alertness to be able to do data analysis. Particularly when you are dealing with charts, graphs, by the time we move on away from Excel to another stage now, you need it. So another reason why we use chart and graph is to make comparison between two different sets of data. We also use it for making forecast and prediction, the advantages of charts and graphs. It is easier to understand than a table of numbers. Pictorially, you are able to see what happened. If you could remember very well in the last class, when we used a particular chart, and we're looking at using Google Trends to see which of the brands or the businesses are highly demanded or are highly searched for online. And we're comparing affiliate marketing, digital marketing, and fashion. To our greatest surprise, and to the surprise of many people here, you saw that fashion throughout the year, even as at a day before the time of the class and the day of the class, fashion was still ranking higher. Now, it was not the numbers in a table that gave us that information. Rather, it was the charts that we saw. So charts help us to highlight pattern and trends in the data. It helps us to make comparison and analysis very, very easy. And it helps representation of data using different types of charts and graphs. You can have different designs, you can have H pyramids, you can have thematic maps. Data analysis is applied in different areas, different ways. Now we have different types of charts and graphs. What are the components of charts and graphs? Now, for you to be able to understand the data very well, you need to make your chart and graph to have a proper title. Like what we are saying here, this is an histogram. The histogram has a proper title. The title of this histogram is Distribution of Global Expenditure by Region in 2004. You must have what they call the axis label. The axis label is what is representing the data you are showing on the x-axis and on the y-axis. We have axis label on the x-axis. X-axis is the horizontal level. Y-axis is the vertical level. Then you can have label for some subgroups. Then you need to have footnotes and reference to the data source. Now, this is again what I have just said. That is on the horizontal level and on the vertical level. So you have them that way. What are the characteristics of chart and graph? Your chart and graph must present a key message. It must be able to tell the people viewing it. It must present a key message. It must have a clear objective. Look at this type of chart and graph that is showing here. It's too voluminous. People will not be able to know what is there. Look at this again. It's too voluminous. You are presenting too many information at the same time. Then you must use the appropriate type of presentation. If you are using bar chart, use bar chart. If you are using pie chart, use pie chart. If you are using histogram, use histogram. There are different ones. They must use the one that will present your data in the most simplified way, easy to understand, easy to learn. And then you must have a simple and clear design. This is one of the things that are very, very important when you are doing data analysis, particularly with chart and graphs. Before we go to the proper explanation, proper example, let me show you some types of charts and graphs. For those of us that are here that have been in the sciences, you know that There are different charts and graphs being used to present scientific reports. But we are talking about data now, and I know more than 70% of us here are business inclined. We want to use it for our businesses, or we want to use it so that we can be enrolled in other people's businesses. Now, we have what we call the pie chart. The pie chart is always in form of a circle, and it's used to represent data that are already presented in percentage, so that everything will be up to 100%. Well, I don't want to take us back to mathematics, but in mathematics, when you have a circle, there is one significant property of a circle they call pi. Pi. Who can tell me what's the value they normally use to denote pi? If you can remember it, can you raise up?
22/7, sir.
Thank you. This person
Or
was
3.14.
3.142. Thank you. So that is the relationship between pi and pie charts. Pi and pie chart. So pi is from pie charts, or pie chart is from pi. They look at the circumference of a circle, and they say for you to calculate the circumference of a circle, you use 2 pi r. We are doing mathematics already. And for you to calculate the area of a circle, you use pi r squared. So now, but that's not what we want to do in this one. Thank God you are using computer, and computer is going to do the calculation for you. But I just gave you the mathematical basis of a pie chart. So the data that you present in a pie chart must have been converted to percentage, or the system will convert it to percentage for you. And there must not be too many data. For example, now you have 100 students in a classroom, and you have presented their results in form of percentage. I want to put it in form of a pie chart. It will look voluminous, except if there are clear differences in them. Maybe you have reduced the data to male and female. You can easily put it in a pie chart. Now, another form of graph is called a line graph. A line graph usually have what we call the x-axis and the y-axis, and we use it in presenting data that have patterns. So you put a particular growing pattern on the x-axis across the one on the y-axis, or the one on the x-axis across the one on the x-axis. Now, and then we also have what we call the bar chart. Bar charts are always bars, just like the word bar. We represent numbers, population, or measurements. Measurement in terms of maybe kilogram, measurement in terms of distances, measurement in terms of time, across another factor. Let's say we have 50 vehicles traveling to Abuja. I want to see the time it took them to arrive at Abuja. One of them spent 9 hours, another one spent 9.5, another one spent 10 hours, another one spent 15 hours, etc. So we'll plot the graph of time against distance, or distance against time. You can use a line graph, you can use a bar chart. Then we also have what we call the area graph. Area graph is like the one that I'm showing you here, that is on the right-hand side here, where my cursor is currently hovering over. And then you can also have what we call a scatter plot, and then you can have maps to represent population and all of that. If you are conversant with Channels Television in Nigeria, there's one guy that does analysis for them. It was very common during that election period, particularly this program they do for Politics Today. I don't know if somebody here knows the person I'm talking about. If you do, can you indicate? Do you know the person I'm talking about?
The program coordinator is saying Kimbaloye. I think the guy is then or something.
Okay, but you know he
He's
used
a
to do
data
analysis.
analyst.
He's a data analyst. Do you enjoy what he says? Can you tell me what you feel when he says it? Can you tell us what you feel when he describes some information?
Most times he describes the information in fact, for people to understand what is really going on, especially those that cannot understand the analysis. So he will now use I think he will use the practical aspect of it using data.
Okay, thank you very much. So one of the things I listened to him that he said, which is a data you cannot argue with. Data, you can't argue with data, it's empirical data. Even lawyers, there are lawyers here. Even lawyers, they deal with data. Currently now, the presidential tribunal, they are depending on data. Data is what you cannot argue with. I think the assistant class rep is a lawyer. When you refer to cases won by so, you say according to the case delivered by the judgment delivered in the Federal High Court, you are referring to data. According to the case delivered by so, maybe another person in the case of Tanumowo versus Oladiji or something. You are referring to data. Now, he made a prediction. I'm not a politician. So he said that whoever will win Nigerian election is always determined by what happens in Ekiti. Now, and he came up with the data. Now, why I agreed with the analysis he made is that he went on for about 4 or 5 years to tell us the trend. Well, that does not mean that that's going to be the direction of the voting pattern. What I want to bring out is that he only spoke based on data. When you speak based on data, you are able to actually nip something in the board. You nick it against something that, oh, this is what is likely to happen. He predicted that oh, whichever party wins in this, because consistently that party had been the one. And then he also said, okay, this is what should happen. Now, where I'm going to is that if you are the data analyst for a particular company, you can be able to say, this is the growth rate of this company. If the company makes 1 million naira every month, you can be able to tell them that by the end of the year, they will make 12 million, or at the particular growth rate pattern, by the end of the year or by December, this is how much they will make. Okay, if they made 1.2 million in January, in February, they made 1.5, in March, they made, let's say, 1.3. And then you just found the average of that, and it was consistent like that. And then you now tell them, okay, when you were making 1 million, this is how much you invested. This is how much input you put. If you add another input here, you will be able to have this as the result. So you speak based on facts. And as the world is hovering around AI, data scientists are now needed to be able to teach or train models in machine learning. Now, let me give us an example, because some of us that are here may not have had the background of what machine learning has to do with. Now, many of us are familiar with what they call ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT is a natural language processing model that was trained over many years. I can't explain exactly the number of years, with different data available, that's available on the internet. Now, this different data available on the internet was provided with this model, and then it was trained such that anybody answering your question, the model will be able to tell you. And they told you that ChatGPT can only answer questions up to, I think, year 2022, when it was released. Any question you ask the machine, the AI, The AI will not be able to provide information except somebody has trained that model. So now this is what I did on a particular day. So I wanted to get the profile of somebody. And then I said, who is so? And then ChatGPT said, oh, I don't know who this person is. So, and I said, but this is the person's name, this is the person's profile. The next time somebody goes online to go and check, to go and ask ChatGPT that same question, ChatGPT will be able to answer the question because you have trained the model. So data is very, very important, and we are generating data every day. As we are in this class now, we are generating data. We are generating data. The characteristics of this class, since we started, I can tell what will happen in the next class. I can tell the factors that will make this class better. So you can tell. So as a child at home, you can study your child. If you are a parent here, and look at the data of that child, the data that child is generating, not school results. Look at the behavioral pattern, and you'll be able to predict this is what will happen to this child. Now you are doing that as a man because you have the data over time. Your own personal behavioral pattern, you are able to predict what is likely to happen based on what happens over time. As a data analyst, it will help you even in your individual behavioral pattern and how to relate with your friends and people around you. Once you have obtained the data, this is the pattern of this person. You have plotted the graph in your head, or if you have the time, you have plotted the graph in a bar chart or in a pie chart. You are able to tell, you are able to predict, you are able to avoid some losses. You are using your vehicle, you obtain data from your vehicle. You have traveled your vehicle towards a distance of 100 kilometers, and you know your you have to go. Please kindly mute your audio, your voice if you have a background noise. Thank you. So if you have to fly a distance of, let's say, 500 kilometers, already you know what is the average of what you are likely to spend. That's data. You make life easier for yourself, for your business, because of the data. Somebody that is into bakery, someone that is into fashion, you are into sales, you are into this, you know the number of orders you take per day. Now, I can tell you, I mentioned it during the opening ceremony. Many people waste time trying to sell on and I've said it. Research has shown people are disturbing us here. I think everybody will have to be muted. So research has shown that there is this 1% principle that works. And I keep saying it, I'm a digital marketer, and almost every day of life, I have one advert or the other running on the internet, either mine or for some other people. Now, and there's this 1% principle. I always say to people, if you want to sell on WhatsApp and you have averagely, everybody can tell here. Okay, let me take the data from us. If you used to have up to 100 views on the internet, can you raise up your hand? Princess, please drop your hand so that others can see. Let's do the data now. You have up to 100 views averagely. Can you raise up your hand? Up to 100 views on anything you post. In 24 hours, you have up to 100. Up to 100, up to 100, up to 100, up to 100. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. Okay. Okay. Nine of us. I think that's fine. Now, for those of you that have up to 100 views, I can tell you that the only people that will buy from you in anything you post is just one person. One person. If you do it well, only one person will buy from you. You can take that statistic to the market. If you post and 100 people see it, 10 people will be interested. Only one person will eventually buy. Can we contest that now? Share your experience with me. Let's contest that. So let me hear 2 people contribute. Let me allow you to talk. Yes, unmute yourself if that data is wrong, if the analysis is wrong. Can you tell me your views about that? I'm talking to somebody that sells constantly on WhatsApp.
Hello?
Yes, okay.
What you said is right. You're 100% right.
Thank you very much. All right, so let's take another person. Chima.
Hello.
Yes.
Oh, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I beg to disagree. Why am I saying that? It all depends on what you are selling or what you are displaying. If it is something that is needed or that is in vogue, I think more than one person to patronize.
Now, do you sell something
When
online?
I post things online, yes, I do.
Can you tell us what you sell online, sir? What do you sell online?
Okay.
What do you sell online?
I sell shirts, I sell bed sheets, I sell duvet.
Shirts,
bed sheets, duvet, and then fabric.
All right, okay. When was the last time you posted and got 100 views, sir? Did you get 100 views in the last 5 days?
3 days ago.
And you sold, that means you have 3 days ago, that means you have sold 3 items.
3 days ago.
3 days ago, that means you have sold 3 items 3 days ago, right? Online. Did you sell 3 items?
I sold more than 3 items because one person bought like 5. I sold more than 3 items.
No, we are talking about 3 people. 3 people will buy. We are not talking about the number of things that the people buy. 3 people. Did you get 3 customers? 3 different customers, sir?
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you. You got 3. Did you get more than 3? Did you get more than 3? Did you get more than 3? Okay, so that's not to waste our time.
Sir?
Don't worry, sir. Let me hear from another person.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, don't worry. Let's get another person's view. Anima Sharon Tosin. You want to say something? Hello?
Can I say something?
Please go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon once again to everybody. I had a post yesterday afternoon, and as at this morning when I checked, I had 103 views.
Okay.
Out of which I just got an order placed, which I'm to deliver this afternoon.
Okay, thank you. Now, what I want to bring out of this is this. If you want to sell to 5 people every day on WhatsApp, you need at least 500 views. We should stop deceiving ourselves. Data, empirical data is very, very important. You see, out of 100 people, when we say empirical data, you can have more than maybe +1 or +2 or +3, but you are sure if you do it right, you not just post shoe without telling the people the price, you not show them video, you not do your marketing very well. There are ethics of marketing, which if you are in my digital marketing class, I'm going to explain. There are ethics of marketing. So if you do your marketing very well, you are sure that 10 people will be interests, and at least 1 person will eventually buy. So that is a trend, and it has happened over the years. So what are we going to do now to make our sales better using data analytics? We reach out to a wider audience. Even in events, church program, in meetings, you want to organize an e-event, you have a training, anything. Always ensure that you make times 100 of your adverts. If you want to sell something, you want to sell 5 things or 10 items, you must reach times 100 of that. It means you must reach 1,000 people, 100 will be interested, 10 will buy. I can see Ibrahim Nimot, she wants to speak. Can you tell us your experience? Hello? You are muted. Can you speak? You are muted, Ibrahim Nimot. You are muted.
I think the hand.
I understand what you are saying, but at the same time, I believe it's also depend on what we are selling. You know, there are some people now that
You are muted again. You are muted again. Okay, so we lost that conversation. So I think I've been able to make my point known. You can test run that and see how it works in your business. Now, what are the process of creating a graph or a chart? If you want to create a graph or a chart, you must first organize and present the data in a table. You must calculate the percentages, the ratio, and the indicators. Then you create the graph or chart to illustrate the data. So I'm going to take us through a step-by-step process now of what we need to do. So I'll stop sharing this screen and then go back to the other screen where we had the previous data and try to analyze it. Now, I want to pull out 5 states first and look at their percentages. So I'm pulling out 5 states. Okay, let me pull out 10. I'll pull it out, 10 states. I have it here. And then I have the percentage here, the voting rate. Let me use this voting rate. Okay, so I'll just pull it out from here so that I'll be able to get what I want to do. So for these first 10 states, I want to analyze the data. So for those of us that uses Excel, if you go to your Excel document, you'll be able to see pie charts. But here I'm using Google Sheets. So you go to Insert, and then you go to Charts. And then it's going to display for me the different type of charts that I want for this data. So here I have this data presented already in a bar chart. This bar chart, let me explain the properties as I've explained before. I can change it to pie charts. Look at it here. I can change it to a pie chart. Now here, already the title that I've put for this table is showing here. And immediately from this graph, I will see that United States has the highest figure that is available here, followed by California. Then I have Colorado, I have Arizona, and then I have Alabama. So I can change the title here to say voting age or voting population in the US. Voting population in the US in 2020. Voting population in the US in 2020. And then I format it. Maybe I want it to be in the middle here. And then the text will change. So on my right-hand side there, I can always change the color of the text or whatever I want there. So because I'm using Google Sheet, it makes it easier for me. I can format it, the pie chart, and then make the border color to change. If I want the percentage to have a donut hole, I can do something like this to make something in the middle. Look at the difference that I have here. This hole that I have here. And if I want the hole that I have here to be very big, this is what will happen. So this way I'm trying to have different type of charts. Somebody is already raising up his hand. The Google Sheet is complex for me. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so let me allow us to unmute ourselves so that you can let me know when you have challenge. Okay, so how many of you understood it up to this level that I have? If you do not understand this level, you just raise your hand. Ambimbola Ajilo, Ruth Ejechi, Abdullahi Mubarak. Unmute yourself and speak. Dr. Busayo Ajibola. I just need 2 people to talk so I know what to do. Unmute yourself. You are now allowed to unmute. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Hello, if you can hear me, kindly unmute yourself, please. Abdullah Mubarak, class rep, can you unmute yourself? Let's know what is happening. Class rep, can you unmute yourself? Hello, am I the only one left in the class? Can anybody hear me? Okay, if anyone can hear me, can you? Okay, thank you. So others are raised up their hand, they are not talking. All right, so we are going to continue now. So I want to change the type of donut hole that we have here. I've explained that you can change it to that of 75% or even 50% to have something like this, or to have something like this. And then if you don't want the hole to be there at all, you make it 0. But I prefer this, something like this, and I prefer that of 50%. It makes it a little bit interesting. Now, I can decide that I want the value to show percentage. So you see percentage is already showing there, 83.2% and 9.9%. And if I wanted to show the value itself, the number is already showing the number. I've picked it there. If I wanted to show a label, so the label is United States, California. So this way, I'm able to analyze the data and somebody will pick it, oh, US has the highest number without even looking at the figure. So this way, I'm able to get it very easily. So
I didn't get that you get the variables into those
Can somebody unmute themselves so that we'll know? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Hi, can hear you, sir.
Yeah, you sir.
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, that's fine. So I was saying that, so
We
please
can hear you clearly here.
okay, thank you. So I was saying that you can use Google Sheets because it has more features. So I've explained the same data I used bar charts, the same data.
No, this pie chart, I don't know if you can explain it again. I didn't get it.
So I'm deleting the data and I'm starting all over again. I want you to
Thank
listen.
you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Hey.
So I want us to open our eyes, everybody. So this time I'm going to use 15 states, not 10 states. So I'm selecting the data up to this level, and then I will go to my insert and I say chart, and then it's going to load for me. Now here it has loaded it for me. I've showed you how you can change the title, and then these are the axes. You can actually rename the axis. You can say the number or the voting number or the population, and then you now have, you can say population here. You can say population. Then these are the, so this, somebody that has a child there, kindly mute. So let me go back and mute everybody again. Okay. All right. So let's use the chart until we're able to get that person down. Okay, so if I want to change this now, I have, this is the setup. So I have my rows and I have my column. So this chart type, I come here and change the chart type. Now, I can make it a line graph. I can make it area graph. I can make it different types. But here I want to make it a pie chart. And I'm showing you how you can actually arrange the pie charts. Here is still showing you all the different states. So I want to customize this pie chart. I'll come, click on customize and click on pie charts. And then it's going to tell me, I want to put a donut hole there. Therefore, I can say donut hole should be 20%, donut hole should be 50%, or the donut hole should be 75% like this. So I made this all like this. And then I can decide to make the slice label to carry the label to show the states. Now, I can decide that I want it to just show the value. I can decide that I want it to show percentage. In fact, I can also have value and percentage this way. So it depends on what I want to highlight in the data. So if I want it to be in this form, California, United States, you have it there. And then I can change the format of the title. If I want it to be bold, United States is bold. If I want it to carry a particular color, let's say this color, and then it carries this. If I don't want it, and then I can go to custom color, or I just make it to be black. So, or I want this to be, I can pick the custom color and pick it to be black and say, okay. So this is what was going to happen. So this is how we're going to prepare the chart here. Now, I can decide that I want to make it to be this type of bar chart. I have a column chart, but I want it to be a bar chart. Look at it this way. This bar chart is similar to the one that is shown in the example that we are using. So it's showing you the population by age. Here, I'm going to come and change the axis title, the axis title here. Axis title here is the number, axis title here is the state. So I'm just going to say states, and then you have it like that. Now, and then here is the population. This one I will just carry population. I don't need to write all these stories there. I will just say population. And then you have it this way. And then you can also format it to change the different color. If I want the line color to be red, I change it to red. If I want the field color, so let me change the line color to be black, and then I want the field color to be red. This is what is going to happen. So you can always change the color depending on what you want to show and highlight. You can also change the legend. The legend is what is going to show you what you are bringing up. So let me go back again to change from bar chart to another chart. So I'm going to scroll down. Let me pick an area chart or a scatter graph. Let me use map for now. Everybody can get it first. So this is a geological graph, and then I pick map. So this map is showing me, because I've talked about the states, and the states, this is the states in US, and this is their own voting. So you can see it here. This is the map. This is the map. It's showing the map of the world. But here, I'm actually bringing out what happened in this voting pattern. So if what I'm dealing with is the map of the world or the map of election in Kwara State, I can pick all the local government, fill it in, and allow the map to show me which of the states has more regions and all of that. So all those things you used to see during election that they present, this is how they do it. So I can decide that I want to have a different type of map and say, I want this map with markers. It's going to show all these markers. So this is it here, and showing with the markers. So it's showing it with markers. And then you have all the states that are there. So this is a very good way to understand it. I believe, so let me pick another example of charts. Let me use area graph now. So let me say I want to have this area graph. So this is how an area graph looks like. This is how an area graph looks like. So let me pick another one again. Let me pick another type of scatter graph. Scatter graph. This is how the scatter graph will look like. And then I put the area scatter there. It's going to show me there. So these are the different ways you can easily analyze data using graphs and charts. So I want us to take one or two questions for today, so that and then we'll be able to give ourselves assignments. I'll give you some data that you analyze, and I also wanted to also get some data. So generally, we have two assignments today. First, you go to the website I gave you, research, Google Research Data Science. You get the data that is available on Nigeria, any free data available on Nigerian population to analyze. I dropped it on the group before, and then let me try to drop it again for you now. So dataset search.research.google.com. So I'm going to drop it here in the chat. So use this data set to generate data from Nigeria. Use it to harvest data from Nigeria and make a population graph showing the map of either you got graph for election or you got for population, but you must show it so that it's going to bring up Nigeria for us. Or you cannot find Nigeria, do that of Africa, so that you'll be able to present it that way. So just before we go, let me allow questions. Let me open the call now for us to take some questions. So if you have questions, I'm going to take 3 people before we end the class. Raise up your hand, the first 3, so that I will take the questions. Okay. Blessing Samson, Abdullah Mubarak, number 2. I think those are only 2 people. Okay, so let me take Blessing Samson. Those are the only 2 we are going to take. Blessing Samson, can you unmute yourself? Can you unmute yourself? You are allowed to unmute. Can you unmute yourself, please?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you for the class. Sir,
Yes.
my problem is that my system, I cannot send, I don't know how I'll be sending this data that you are the last one, the one you said, I don't know how I will send it on my data and about Google Sheets, because I'm not really familiar with system, because I was trying doing it, I couldn't, I haven't chatted you. So I don't know, is it I will just click on Chrome to just search it, because I'm not really familiar with it.
Like the question got muddled up at the end of the way you were asking the question, actually. I couldn't get you what you were saying.
What
You
I'm
want to
saying,
use Google Sheet.
Sorry, I don't
wait.
really,
You want to
yes. The Google
you want
Sheet
to
is,
go
sir?
to sheet.google.com.
Sir?
If you want to use Google Sheet,
Yes.
go to .google.com.
Hello?
Sheets.google.com.
So I didn't get you where.
If you want to use Google,
Yes, sir.
go to sheet.google.com, or you go to your Chrome, type in Google, log into your Google account, then go to the menu bar and type in Sheets or search for Sheets. It will be able to allow you to get Google Sheets.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Second question. Second questions. Mubarak Abdullah. Mubarak Abdullah. Mubarak Abdullah. Okay, we can't hear you again. So let me take reactions from today's class. Let me take random people. What did you learn from today's class? Odwayo Arowole, what did you learn from today's class? What new thing did you learn? All right, Olamide to me, what new thing did you learn? What new thing did you learn in today's class? No response again. Can you hear me? All right, Ruth Ejechi, what did you learn from today's class? Bamindele Onibani, what did you learn from today's class? Participants have been muted. No, participants can actually unmute yourself. Okay. Try to unmute yourself again now.
Okay, thank you, sir. My name is Ruth Ejechi.
Okay, Ruth,
may I speak, please?
Ruth Ejechi, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I actually raised my hand from the beginning of the class, but you did not recognize me, so I couldn't really speak. My question is that how do we get to know that you have received our assignments, the submissions? I sent you a private chat as well. I've not gotten a response to that. The class is beautiful, but then I'm struggling to load Zoom on my laptop so that I can be active as you're opening your sheet on the system as well. So I really could not flow with the class, but I did ask a question. What is the difference between a histogram and a bar chart?
Okay. A
I don't know whether you
histogram
heard me.
is similar to a bar chart. You also I can hear you.
Thank you very much.
Histograms are joined together. The bars in histogram are joined together, while the bars in bar chart are separated.
Okay, thank you very much. I forgot that.
The bars in histogram are. As touching your second question, I wanted to improve on your internet next time so that you'll be able to join us. I'm sorry I could not help with that, or I don't know how to help with that, but you can go to Google and type in um, um, my download speed, or you say internet speed test. So you can run internet speed test on your PC and know which part of your house or office or location that has the highest internet, so that you can stay where you have the highest internet. And you can also change um, your source
May
of
I speak,
internet.
please?
And change it to, sorry.
Thank you, sir.
May I speak, please?
Bamidele Olubani. Bamidele
Okay, thank you
Olubani.
so much. Thank you very much. This is Bamidele Onibani. I want to especially appreciate you for this training. I've actually gained on a lot, especially in the topic of today, and especially in a digital manner. About the area I'm still having a little bit of confusion is the area you have actually clarified. How to all those data sets, how to bring those data. But the issue I'm having now is how to now, all those informations that you are providing for us. Most of the time when we are using our phone, we cannot actually work too much on it. And sometimes laptop may not be available. So that thing is actually serve as a challenge for us to do our assignments.
After
So
this
thank
call,
you.
okay, sir. Sorry
Yes.
about the fact that you don't have your PC with you. I'm sorry I couldn't also help with that. The recording of the class will be made available on my YouTube channel. You can access it between now, as soon as it is available, and the 24 hours after that time. After that period, it will not be accessible to the general public. It will only be accessible to those that are membership on the channel. So try as much as possible to access it as fast as possible. Thank you. So let's go
Hello,
to,
sir.
we are coming to you, Ma. We are coming to you. Akinshola Oluwatosin.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I don't know. I have a laptop though, but I'm finding it difficult to get Zoom on the laptop. So I wouldn't know, is there something I'm not doing rightly, or I don't know.
Go to zoom.us. When you visit the website, you go to the footer of the page, the last part of the page. You will see that you will be able to download your Zoom clients to your PC, and that will solve the problem.
Okay. So secondly, concerning the recorded classes that you said is going to be on YouTube, you're saying once it's uploaded on YouTube, after 24 hours, we won't be able to access it again. What if within the 24 hours period, we still don't understand what was taught? How do we practice?
Really, I don't even know how to answer that question. Please assess it within 24 hours. Let me beg you to do that.
Wow. The problem is not accessing it within that period, is understanding it within the period.
You can download on your phone now. Every
Oh,
YouTube
oh.
can be downloaded.
Okay, we can download. Okay, fine, thank you. I didn't think of that. Thank you so much, sir.
Allow me to me.
Good
afternoon.
Sorry, Olamide Otimina.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Farumbi. I give you kudos for this lecture. You have opened my eyes one more time. I had a program I enrolled for last year. That was ALX. I don't know if you are familiar with that.
Yes.
And a couple of assignments were given, which what you taught today is one of it. And believe me, as at that time I was doing the assignment, I never knew I was doing something related to data analytics. To be honest with you, all this graph of a thing were given as an assignment, and I just, fiddled on it somehow. I didn't know I was even doing data analytics. So thank you for today's lecture. I appreciate it. But my question now is, for some people who may not have access to laptops at the time the assignment or the time frame the assignment should be done. For example, for somebody like me, I have a laptop quite all right, but I'm having issue with the power supply in my area, which is a very great challenge for me. But somehow I have Google Sheets on my phone. Can you tell me if there are no limitations as to using the Google Sheet on the phone to run through the assignment, or there are some specific assignments that cannot be done on the Google Sheet on the phone that I have to use a PC?
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the remarks. I appreciate. The limitations on Google Sheet app on your phone cannot be compared to the one you have on the PC. You cannot do this analysis as we are doing now. The features on the mobile app is very, very limited. You can only do a very few things on the app on your phone, no matter how big the screen of your PC is. So you need, the screen of your phone rather is, you need a PC to do these things effectively. I'm sorry once again about the light issue. You may try to get solar that will power your PC, or try to charge somewhere before the class. I'm very sorry once again about.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, so
hello, sir.
Last person, Abdullah Mubarak.
Yes, sir. So I was fooling as we were doing it. I was fooling with you on my laptop, but my connection got cut off in this a while. That's why I was asking about how you got the specific information down into the chat. How you got the variables into the chat? Because my laptop is showing chat type and taking data range x-axis series. So I didn't really get that.
Okay, sorry about that. Sorry about your internet. Kindly watch the video as soon as it is uploaded on YouTube. Yes. Thank you very much. I believe I've answered the questions of many of us. Training is stepwise, and also important that we take it stepwise. I try to move very, very slow, unlike me today, so that I can carry as many people along, because the objective is not to reach where we are going to today, but to get as many people along to learn today. So I believe a good number of us have learned something new. The best is for us to practice. I understand the challenge of people accessing a recorded video. Actually, having the class live is what is the best. Like I said in the beginning of the class, having the class also live and you attending is best. In fact, if it were possible, we would have had it in a physical class. But because time and situation have not allowed all of us to be available in the same physical location at the same time. So that's why we are doing it virtually. And that's why I've encouraged everyone to ensure we are in the live class. Don't always say you want to depend on the recorded class. Do you understand? Please, let's always attend the live class. So I wish you all the very best. Please, let's ensure we submit our assignment. I'll give us a 48-hour period to turn in our assignment. Somebody was saying, how do you know whether your assignment has been submitted or not? So for this, what we're going to do is the email I dropped for the last class, just share me as an editor on it. For some people, I made comments. Because the classes were very close to each other, I could not make comment on everybody's posts. So kindly send in your assignment so that I will also make the comment as expected. So thank you so much, everyone. I wish you the very best. Do enjoy the remaining part of your day. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Bye-bye.